Sebastian.
What's going on? The nice guy, he gets the glasses on. Big fight coming up March 22, Mandalay Bay, Cordale Booker. Talk to us about the matchup. How excited are you to defend your title?
I'm very excited. This is another headliner here in Las Vegas, the boxing capital of the world. So I'm very excited to show my fans that I can defend these two titles.
Any thoughts, sizing up with Cordale Booker just now? Any thoughts on the size or anything from Cordale Booker?
Everything's the way I thought it was going to be. So I'm ready. I'm ready for Saturday.
Is this the fight where you get behind your jab and start using your height and reach and all your advantages now you've been able to square them up?
I think I showed that last time. I'll do it again if I have to, but it's up to how I feel tonight or Saturday night.
Has it been frustrating not capitalizing on that Zoo fight last year? There was a lot of momentum after it. People call it a fight of the year contender. Did you want more action last year?
Of course, but the business of boxing didn't let that happen. So, this year, now we're in March again, a year later. Hopefully we can get more than one fight this year.
Just watching you work out, the leverage you get on your punches, the power you're showing. Can you talk about that? Is that something that still is even improving at 27? And how are you? And just kind of talk to the fans about the technique, turning those punches over, and what allows them to look good.
I think that's absolutely true. The older I get, the more I feel like the more I'm learning in the sport. I'm 27 years old. We started this sport very young. We started professional very young, so I'm still growing into this man body. I feel like I'm fully a man now, and with these titles, whether I like it or not, I'm gonna have to learn how to box now.
People talk about how good 154 is at the moment. Is that where you are for the foreseeable future? You see yourself at this weight for a while, or can you see yourself moving north in the next 18 months or so?
As of right now, 154 is the place to be. We'll see in the future. Right now, I can't even make it anything higher than I want. So 154 is where it's at.
154, one of the hottest divisions out right now. A lot of great champions at 54. What do you think about Vergil Ortiz and Madrimov's fight?
I actually didn't watch that fight. I had to do yard work that day, so I was busy. I live in the mountains, so the mountain doesn't slow down for anybody. So I had to do work.
The old timers in boxing, they used to say when you become a champion, a lot of time you get 50% better. I even hear you say things like speaking in the third person, like Fundora is here to still Can you talk about that confidence as a champion, and does that feel true? Like you've leveled up just in becoming a champion. You're a better fighter now than when you won the belt.
Absolutely. I feel like with this new confidence, not that I didn't have confidence before, but with this extra confidence that I have now being a champion, it just puts me that much higher in my head, in my heart, to be in ring and at a level like this.
What is it? Is it posing in the mirror with the belts at home? What is it that's making you guys feel so fired up? Is it that much? Is there just this injection of just pride when you get the belt? What happens?
It could be pride. It could be the fact that we actually achieved our dreams of becoming world champion. It's not like a little thing, like a sparring match where okay, I beat this guy's butt in sparring for 4 rounds. No, you proved to the whole world that you're better. You're the best in the division. Now you have these titles.
Booker's out there saying he's the underdog. Does that mean that there's pressure on you? And how hard is it to not look beyond the next challenge when you're expected to win in style?
Underdog, of course. I think the person that fights the champion's always gonna be the underdog. The last fight we were the underdog, but look how that came out. So we don't look past Booker. This fight is what we're focused on. We've been focused on this for 3 months now. Come Saturday night, we're going to show you what we need to do.
In your fights, when you take control, it tends to get pretty brutal for the other guy, pretty ugly. Do you enjoy that, inflicting that much punishment?
Enjoy, maybe not the right word. I just do what I do. If I'm not the one throwing, he's going to be doing that to me. That's the name of the game, boxing. Hit, don't get hit. And if you do get hit, make sure you don't get hit too much.
A couple years ago, after you fought against Lubin, you frankly told me that your fighting style was called break face. That either you were going to break that guy's face or the guy was going to break your face. Are you backing up from that now, or do you still feel like it is what it is? I'm coming to break face.
Break faces every day. Break faces every day.
Is part of that like the mechanics of your frame? Like everyone talks about how your size is such an advantage, but I imagine it makes it harder to get underneath. It makes it harder sometimes to move the body like other guys. And is that part of why it's break your face? Like the offense has to be defense, or?
Yeah, like the saying goes, the best defense is offense. So if you're not punching, they're gonna be punching you. There's only one thing in boxing: punch, and that's all there is to it. Simple. You gotta throw punches.
Do you feel like you're in a privileged position right now because you're the guy that people want, right? You've got a target on your back. People are talking about Lubin's in town calling you out, Vergil Ortiz talking about wanting to fight you. Like, you're the guy that people want to fight. Is that pressure a privilege, and how does it feel being the marked man?
I think that's perfect. You know, once you get these titles, without these titles, it's a little harder to get fights. No one really wanted to fight us, but now that we have these titles, you're gonna have to fight us if you want to become champion. So I have open doors for everybody that wants to come.
It's such a deep weight class. Why do you think you beat all these guys? Why are you the best fighter at 154?
Because I beat all these guys. No, well, I have the titles right now. Come Saturday night, I just have to prove it to you guys again that I'm a world champion, and continue from there on.
I talked to a bunch of the guys in 154, and there is a lot of respect for you. I mean, like we talked about it, Bohachuk thinks you're the best in the world, and a lot of guys are saying the same thing. What does that mean to you?
It's just, we know the sport. We know a lot of these fighters know that the titles really mean something in the sport. You just don't win them by luck. You know, you really have to work for this position. And the fact that I have two of the belts in this division, I'm half the division right now, it just goes to prove who is the best at 154.
How much?
Two questions real quick. One was, I know it's been a couple of months ago, but what did you think about the absolute execution of Tim Tszyu by Murtazayev? What did you think about that fight?
It was a good fight. It was a good fight for what it was. I think Tim Tszyu's mind wasn't there, honestly. We saw after the first round when he looked at a cut that wasn't there, his mind was somewhere else. So, you know, maybe we'll see that fight again, maybe we won't, but I wish him the best of luck.
Oh, no, go ahead.
And then the second one was the Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman just threw his hat into the ring at 154 pounds with a knockout a couple of days ago in Australia. What did you think about that matchup?
He did great. He did great. He went over there and represented America. You know, he did his thing. He talked a lot, and he did exactly that. So, you know, big props to Keith Thurman, but of course he doesn't need it. He is a former world champion. He's been there, done that already.
Let's do two more.
Just gotta ask, because you know, we'll be asking all the champions this in the next 6 months. Canelo, Crawford. Crawford's moving up from this weight class for Canelo. Who do you think probably comes out on that fight? How do you see it playing out?
I have Canelo. Canelo's more comfortable at 168. He's gonna fight again for undisputed for a second time at 168. So this is nothing uncomfortable to him. Terence Crawford's a great fighter, and of course we're starting to see that he can probably make 168 naturally. But again, it's a different division. 147, 168, two different divisions.
Last question.
And lastly, man, you and Gabriella, do you guys watch tape and a lot of tape to study? Not yourselves, your opponents. You guys do that a lot. And
We do. Our opponents, not really too much. Our father's the one who takes care of all that stuff. But we do watch a lot of boxing. We watch boxing every weekend. Every day boxing on, we watch boxing.
How is it different than, like, if we're watching boxing and we're, you know, we try to think we know what we're seeing, and with the jab and pivoting and deep, but like, how put us on the wall for a second as a fly. Like, how do you guys break down your tape?
I think the difference is that we know what works and what doesn't work. We're in that ring a day after or a couple hours after we watch those fights, so we see what works for us, what doesn't work. We see what's real or not in the sport.
Sebastian, last one for me. You're living up in the mountains now. How close is your training starting to look to the Rocky style vibe with you chopping logs? What are you doing these days up in the mountains?
We're doing everything. We're chasing bears. We're shooting deer. No, it's hard. It's hard. It's not for the faint of heart. You know, this is definitely a Rocky style type of training camp.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sebastian.